This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Right, it is Monday, May 19th, a wild Monday, a wild weekend. Donald Trump is talking to Vladimir Putin as we speak. We'll see what comes out of that. It will be an amazing day indeed if something positive comes out of that and they end that stupid war. Trump promised to do it on day one. He tried, but still would nice to see it end now. Let's review. Let's just do a quick review of things that Joe Biden, the Biden family, Jill Biden, the Democrats have lied about for the last 4 years. They lied about the laptop, of course. They lied about pardons. Joe said he wasn't going to pardon his son. They lied about the election. They lied about Joe's dementia. We'll get to that. They lied about white supremacy. They lied about classified documents. We will get to that too. They lied about his uncle being eaten by cannibals. They lied about his golf score. They lied about everything. Joe Biden is a pathological liar. His presidency will be marked by many things. Will be tarnished by many things. But I think the consistent lies coming from the White House, coming from Karine Jean-Pierre and Jen Psaki and Dr. Jill, is something we will never forget. But the question is, do we believe them now? They announced Joe Biden is battling an aggressive form of prostate cancer. It has spread. It has metastasized. It is not good news. And we will say good luck to Joe Biden. I hope he gets through this. Hope he responds to treatment. I don't wish cancer on anybody, but they lied about this, and it is a big deal. The president has an annual physical. They release the results. Every president does it. The last time Joe Biden had his annual physical, his doctor, Kevin O'Connor, who's also a business partner with the Biden crime family, announced Joe Biden is tip-top, fit for duty. Here's the last time. O'Connor described Joe Biden as, quote, a healthy, vigorous 80-year-old who was, quote, fit to successfully execute the duties of the presidency. He noted that the president's gait had stiffened, saying it was likely the cause of wear and tear on the spine, but did not result in root nerve compression, significant to warrant any specific treatment. They mentioned in the past he'd had some basal cell carcinoma and some sleep apnea. He didn't say he had prostate cancer, and he did. That has been pretty well established at this point. You don't get a diagnosis of stage 4 prostate cancer just boom, one day, there it is. Not if you're getting regular checkups, not if you're getting PSA tests, not if you're getting your the golden finger exam that every man gets after the age of 40. It is simply not possible. Again, you're not going to, I don't expect everyone to just pounce and say, this is a scandal, but it sort of is a scandal when you have the White House doctor lying on behalf of the president, who was at the time running for re-election, who said he could serve 4 more years. Right now, if he had pulled that off, if he didn't have the disastrous debate, if Kamala and Nancy and Chucky didn't pull the coup in July and he somehow won, this would be your president, 82 years old, suffering from stage 4 cancer and dementia. That's what we'd be looking at right now. It is not okay. This is not acceptable. Again, they don't tell the truth. He doesn't tell the truth about anything. Why would you ever believe him on this? Why would you believe her? Why would you believe the White House, the former president and his family and his team? They knew this. They lied. And it wasn't just them. It was the official White House physician, Kevin O'Connor, who must be brought in for questioning. He must testify under oath because this didn't just pop up. It's just not possible. Zeke Emanuel is a doctor. He's also a staunch Democrat activist. He's Rahm Emanuel's brother, Zeke Emanuel. He went on with his pal Joe Scarborough, and they know, at least someone who's a physician knows they cannot lie for Joe Biden at this point. They know it's just not believable. They know he didn't just get this diagnosis. This family, this administration is diabolical. They really are. They have lied to us about everything. And over the weekend, we learned that Joe Biden was much, much worse physically and mentally than we were led to believe. We've been telling you that for 4 years. Lots of people on Newsmax and Fox News and New York Post have been telling you that for 4 years. The entire media conglomerate, mainstream media, legacy media, has been lying to you. Every Democrat in the country has been lying to you. I think they have reached the point where they can no longer lie. Joe Biden's no longer useful. So those people who lied to you for 4 years are suddenly going to come clean. Here's Dr. Zeke Emanuel today talking about Joe Biden's cancer. Go ahead.
You're an oncologist, obviously incredibly respected. You believe that it is likely, just for those just tuning in, you believe it is likely, if this prostate cancer has spread to the bone, that he could have had it for up to a decade, but certainly it's likely. Would it be fair to say it's likely to have had this for at least several years?
Oh, more than several years. You don't get prostate cancer.
So I just want to stop you. So this is not speculation. If you have prostate cancer that is spread to the bone, then he's most certainly, you are saying, had it when he was president of the United States.
Oh, yeah. He did not develop it in the last 100, 200 days. He had it while he was president. He probably had it at the start of his presidency in 2021. Yes, that I don't think there's any disagreement about that.
There is no disagreement. He had it most likely in 2020 when he ran the first time and won. So every year, this clown, Kevin O'Connor, has lied to the American people. Joe Biden has lied to the American people about his physical condition. This is remarkable. And this is, the irony is they released this news on this day because of the other bombshell, which is her audio tape, which we'll get to, and the Jake Tapper book. As I posited on Twitter, they had this. Jill Biden had the cancer card in her back pocket, and she was just waiting for the right time to break glass and use it. Well, you had the Jake Tapper, Alex Thompson book last week, which is officially coming out tomorrow, and people are reading it. Hopefully they're not buying it, but they're stealing it, they're borrowing it and reading it and reporting on it, and it is devastating. And then they release on Friday night, a Friday night news drop, her tape, and Jill Biden, and maybe Joe Biden, I'm not sure he's lucid enough to even know, but the Biden team said, here we go, time to drop the cancer news. I hate to be so cynical, but we're talking about the Bidens. This is the most cynical, sinister thing I think this family has ever done, dropping this news in an attempt to deflect from all the devastating bombshells that dropped over the weekend. Truly remarkable. Here's somebody, I think Benny Johnson put this in Grok. There's just no dispute at this point. If someone's telling you that Joe Biden just found out he had prostate cancer, they're lying to you. Once again, on behalf of the Bidens. This is from Grok. It's unlikely for prostate cancer to progress from a healthy diagnosis in July 2024 to advanced bone metastasis by May of 2025. The disease typically takes years to reach that stage, even in aggressive cases. Medical literature suggests 5 to 15 years for metastasis, with rare high Gleason cancers possibly spreading in 1 to 3 years. Regular screenings, especially for high-profile individuals, should catch issues earlier. No evidence supports a July 2024 healthy diagnosis for Joe Biden. His last report was February 2024, declaring him fit. Such rapid progression in 10 months is rare and raises questions about prior screenings or reporting accuracy. It's just not possible. I had this conversation with my doctor last week when I had my physical, and I got the golden finger, and I got good news. It's not a problem, but almost every male gets prostate cancer at some point. It's very curable if you catch it. It's 97% survival rate. It's very unlikely that it spreads to the bone quickly. It doesn't happen. My doctor actually said if you dug up every male who's passed away, almost all of them have prostate cancer, but they died from something else. It's just slow moving, common. He had this for years. They knew it. They lied about it for years. And if it was just some guy, if he was just whatever, if he was a talk show host, an actor, an accountant, nobody would care. But he was president, and the health of the president is kind of important. And they lied to you over and over again about the health of the commander in chief. And they think at this point it's not going to matter because, prayers up for the president, sympathy. Let's all just wish him the best. Sure, wish him the best, but you have to point out that there's something bigger than the health of a former president. There's the office. There's the integrity of the whole process. We have to have this guy, Kevin O'Connor. He has to face questions today. This just doesn't. We don't just move on. We can't just move on. Wish him the best. Make him comfortable, Dr. Jill. No, we need to know that. We need to know how long he had this and how many times he lied about it. Actually, we should mention that he may have actually told the truth about this in typical Biden fashion. This was 2.5 years ago, I believe, in Somerset, Massachusetts. Joe Biden made an appearance where he was talking about, climate change or some other nonsense. And I remember we talked about this for days, Ironhead. It was remarkable. Joe Biden inadvertently, accidentally, I believe, claimed he had cancer. And we said, what? Where did that come from? He got it from oil slicks in Delaware. Was this another Biden gaffe, or did he accidentally let the truth slip out? You never know with Joe Biden. But let's look back again. He was president when he did this. He was president when he gave the Her interview. He was in the White House, allegedly, with the nuclear codes. We are someday going to look back on those 4 years, and it is a stain on American history that this incoherent, addled old fool was the leader of the free world. Let's just look back on this moment from 2022. Go ahead.
And because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why can't, for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation.
That's why I have cancer. And the White House, I just looked it up. They just said he misspoke. He misspoke to the crowd. I guess that was the only thing they could say. I'll find the official White House response. It says they referred to his past removal of skin cancer spots on his face, which is, again, very common. That's it. It wasn't the prostate cancer he was talking about, although it could have been. He could have just accidentally told us because he had it then. There's no disputing that at this point. He had it then, and he lied. The White House doctor, Dr. Jill, all the doctors in the White House lied about it. Remarkable moment. And again, they think this is going to, limit the damage from the Tapper book and the her tapes? I don't think so. Maybe they figured they'll just get it off the front page, get it out of the news for a day or two. But if you haven't heard the her tapes, it is just stunning what this reveals. After this interview with Robert Hur, the special counsel on classified documents, after this, he was in the White House for 15 more months. We knew this would be bad. We knew it would be embarrassing. It is much, much worse. We got some of the highlights. We'll get to that. And the latest on the Mexican Clipper ship. If you haven't seen this video, it is wild. We got some questions about that. And Kash Patel and Dan Bongino did their first sit-down interview with Maria Bartiromo. And I got some questions. I love these guys. I think they're doing their best. But they shot down at least one conspiracy theory that we had. We will, I'm sure Ironhead doesn't believe him. He believes all the conspiracy theories. But I think we got to give these guys a few more days before we start demanding action. They are working hard. They're going to break some big scandals. Just give them a few more days. We'll get to that. And we'll find out if anything comes of this Putin-Trump phone conversation, which is going on as we speak.
Excuse me.
If you're still tossing and turning all night and feeling edgy during the day, let me tell you about CBD from CB Distillery. Millions are turning to their CBD for relief because it works. In fact, over 90% of customers report better sleep with CBD. And it's not just sleep. CB Distillery offers targeted formulations for just about everything: sleep, stress, mood and focus, pain after exercise. I got that too. They even have CBD for pets, and it's all made from the highest quality, clean ingredients, no fillers, just premium CBD. I've been taking it for sleep for the last couple of weeks, and it's been amazing, sleeping like a rock. With over 2 million satisfied customers and a 100% money-back guarantee, CB Distillery is the source to trust. If you're struggling with sleep, stress, or other health concerns and haven't found relief, make the change, like millions have, to CBD from CB Distillery. And for a limited time, you could save 25% off your entire purchase. Visit CB Distillery and use promo code Callahan. That's cbdistillery.com, promo code Callahan. For some reason, they released the her audio tape, which we knew was coming. We were hoping to get it. It's amazing they were able to sit on it for as long as they have. This was on October 8th, 2023. Yes, the day after the attack on Israel. That was one of the excuses they used. He was preoccupied. And we knew it would be bad. We've seen the transcript. We knew he was just lying, and he didn't know when his son died. He didn't know when he took office. He didn't know when Trump lost. He was rambling incoherently about a trip to Mongolia. Just bizarre. And he was lying, of course. He was bragging about things that he's done in his life. And Her was helping him along. Here's what happened. Robert Hur cut him slack. Robert Hur gave him a break. He could have referred him for prosecution, and he should have. In this interview, Joe Biden admits to stealing classified documents over and over again for decades. And he admits to giving it to his ghostwriter. So it wasn't just a memento. It wasn't just accidental. He was using it for a book from which he would make money. He was trying to capitalize on stolen classified documents. Yes, he should have been prosecuted. He still should be prosecuted. It is quite clear. But just like everything else, he had Democrat privilege. He was not prosecuted for this. Her let him off the hook by saying he was a well-meaning elderly gentleman with a poor memory, and no jury would convict him. Well, we should have found out whether a jury would convict him when he literally admits on tape to taking classified documents and then giving him to his ghostwriter so it would go in a book. So you can't claim it wasn't going to be public. That was the whole point. So clearly, this was much more egregious than what Trump did. Trump was president. Joe Biden was stealing this stuff when he was a senator, and vice president. He had no authority to declassify anything. So he was guilty as hell, and he does not do himself any favors in this interview. And you hear this and you say, oh my God, this guy was literally in the White House making decisions about the October 7th attack and Israel's response and America's role while in a completely compromised mental state. This scandal gets worse every day. It is the worst scandal in American political history. Before we even heard this tape, it's worse. It's much worse than you thought. There are people who covered this up, who allowed him to stay in office when he clearly should have been 25th Amendmented. This is why they have the 25th Amendment, for situations like this, when the person in the office is no longer capable of performing the duties. And you could be the staunchest Democrat Biden supporter. You can't deny that he is incapable of fulfilling the duties of commander-in-chief. Just not possible. You can't make that claim after you hear this. And again, this was October 2023. He had 15 more months. He was running for re-election in this state. And the media, including Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson and all the Democrats, lied to you day in and day out for the next 15 months. He was president 120 days ago. That is remarkable. We got the 4.5 minute clip from Axios. By the way, why is the Trump DOJ leaking this to A, Axios, and B, on a Friday night? They're still trying to protect this addled old fool. It's remarkable. Somebody decided they were going to release this, and they gave it to Axios, a Democrat operation, and they did it on a Friday night to limit the damage. Why? Who? We have so many questions, but let's just listen to a little bit of Dementia Joe's ramblings in this interview with Special Counsel Robert Hur. Check this out.
So during this time when you were living in Chambers Road and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden or the cancer shot or your book, where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on?
Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying. And so it was, and by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. They're not a mean thing to say. I mean, he just thought that she had a better shot of winning the presidency than I did. And so I hadn't at this point, even though I'm at Penn, I hadn't walked away from the idea that I might run for office again. If I ran again, I'd be running for president. And so what was happening though, what month did Bo die? May 30th, 2015. Was it 2015 he died?
May 2015.
I think it's 2015.
I'm not sure the months are, but I think that was
That's right, Mr. President.
And what's happened in the meantime is that Trump gets elected in November of 2017? 2016. All right. So, why do I have 2017 here?
That's when you left office in January of 2007.
Okay. But that's when Trump gets sworn in.
Right.
January.
Right. Correct.
Okay. Yeah. And in 2017, Bo had passed, and
Oh,
this is personal.
This is crazy.
The genesis of the book and the title "Promise Me, Dad" was I know you're all close with your sons and daughters, but Bo was like my right arm, and that was my left. These guys were a year and a day apart, and they could finish each other's sentences. And Bo, I used to go home on the train in the period that I was still in the Senate.
anyway, it's amazing. He uses Bo, but doesn't even know when Bo died. He always uses Bo's death as this life-changing moment, but doesn't even have the year correct when Bo died. The whole thing is remarkable because he is killing time, dragging it out, rambling. There's some stuff in here that just is mind-blowing. He tells a story about going to Mongolia and shooting arrows, and Hur tries to get him back on track. His lawyer tries to interrupt and help him. Here's from Miranda Devine in the New York Post. She points out, she says, the establishment takeaway is that this is just about Joe Biden having pudding for brains and being lazy. It misses the point, which is that prosecutors had him cold on possessing classified documents. Biden lies and disassembles and filibusters and goes vague and mumbly at all the crucial points with the help of his lawyer, who interrupts every time Joe might incriminate himself and laughs like a hyena when Joe gets feisty or cracks a sarcastic joke. It is vintage Biden, nasty, smarmy, self-aggrandizing. He tries to impress the lawyers in the room with exaggerated highlights of his subpar legal career. At one point, he boasts about spending Thanksgiving in Nantucket, handwriting a memo about Afghanistan to Obama to try to save his ass. You can hear the prosecutor's frustration. They're in a straitjacket with a strict time limit. Hur reminds them out of the gate that he has, Biden reminds him out of the gate he's just been on the phone with Bibi Netanyahu talking about October 7th, just so they know they're keeping him from important business. The bottom line is he absurdly lies throughout. He denies having kept classified material for his personal use. It is not something he would ever do because he's so upright and unhonorable. And yet the prosecutors found reams of it tucked away everywhere, in his house, garage, in the Penn Center, along with his recorded admission to the ghostwriter that he found classified material in his basement and he would use it in his memoir. So they had a dilemma. Do they charge the sitting president and label him a pathological liar causing a massive scandal and constitutional crisis, or did they use his age and mental fog as an excuse not to charge him? Pretty clear which was the easier path. That is what Robert Hur did. He let him off the hook on this when clearly he was guilty and admitted it in the interview. Gee, you think Trump would get a break like that? I don't think so. I don't think any Republican would, but he did. He was allowed to stay in office. They didn't charge him. They didn't impeach him. In fact, they attacked Hur, the guy who gave him the break, gave him the pass. One after another, Democrats went before the cameras and said that Hur was out of control and he was a partisan hack. Hur saved his ass, and they went at him because he pointed out that he was an elderly gentleman with a poor memory. Now, you just heard just a snippet. That is quite clear. That is the best thing you could say about this, that he's elderly and has a poor memory. He doesn't even point out that he lied over and over and over again, and he admitted on audio tape that he was going to use that he used classified material in his book, shared it with his ghostwriter. That's an admission of a serious crime, and yet he wasn't prosecuted because he's elderly and has dementia. Do we have Scarborough? Anybody going at Robert Hur? This is the ultimate in no good deed goes unpunished. Robert Hur protected their guy, saved him, and they went at Robert Hur. What else was Hur supposed to say? I mean, clearly he was doing a big favor for Joe Biden when he pointed out, yeah, he's got a poor memory. He doesn't just have a poor memory, he has dementia. And he's a liar, as he pointed out over and over again, with visions of grandeur of his role in the world. But that didn't matter. Hur let him off the hook, and they still went at Hur like somehow he was a right-wing hitman going after their guy. Check this out.
I wonder what pasture he will walk off into.
I don't know.
Just kind of wander off and say, well, and Joe Biden, I noticed he didn't really tie his tie well. The tie knot suggested that maybe he has arthritis in his left thumb.
Where are you going with this?
I'm just saying this guy says such random shit about
Joe, stop.
Stop. He's a kindly old man who could not remember his son's birthday. Like, he wandered off into a pasture here and, maybe Arnold the Pig led him there. I don't know. No, you should apologize for her because
I shouldn't have asked.
I don't know exactly. Like, does he hope he gets a judgeship? I think he does. Yeah. I think he hopes he gets a judgeship. If Donald Trump gets elected again, he's trying out because he humiliated himself with that display.
Jackie Alamedi has actual reporting on this.
He was one. There is a million clips like this from Kamala Harris, from Adam Schiff, every single one of them, including hosts and your Jake Tappers and Don Lemons, and they all attacked her. Can we play, before we play this, a little more from the her tape? How much more we got? I mean, there are hours and hours of this.
There was like 10 seconds left. That was all there was in that clip.
Oh, get the other clip. Then don't we have the clip of him talking about going to Mongolia and shooting arrows? It's incredible.
I'll try to grab it.
I think Hur is just looking at him going, where are you going? What are you talking about? Just babbling. It's just nonsense. And that's one thing. If you're just an average, you're president of the United States. Clearly, he was, as we told you every day, clearly he was not fit. Clearly, he's in the throes of dementia, not to mention prostate cancer. But it didn't matter. They had to defend him. They had to enable him. They had to protect him because the only choice was the evil orange man. Yeah, here's just a quick reminder on how they circled the wagons and lied about this man in hopes of propping him up and carrying him over the finish line on November 5th. Didn't work out, thank God, but they did their best. Check this out.
President have the stamina, physically and mentally, do you think, to continue on even after 2024?
Don, you're asking me this question. Oh my gosh, he's the president of the United States. I can't even keep up with him.
The most difficult part about a meeting with President Biden is preparing for it, because he is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
I can testify because I've been working very closely with this president for the past 2 years. I've been knowing him for 30 years. And I'm telling you, this guy's tough. He's smart. He's on his game.
Joe Biden has vision. He has knowledge. He has a strategic thinker.
The president is focused. He's detail-oriented. He's always thinking about the big picture.
He is engaging. He is capable. He has an incredible record as president.
And I'm often with him on foreign trips. He's at the top of his game.
So he has a vision. He has knowledge. He has judgment. He has a strategic thinking.
I met with the president, 5 or 6 weeks ago, and he seemed fine to me.
I have complete confidence in the president. I have watched him expertly guide
meetings of staff and cabinet members. I could not have more confidence in the.
It is amazing. Every one of these people should be brought in under oath. Why did you lie? When did you lie? I mean, we know why they lied, but they all lied. They all lied to you. They knew what condition he was in. We knew what condition he was in. Oh, here he is. This is my favorite. Keep in mind, we got 5 minutes. There are 5 hours of audio tapes of Biden in the throes of dementia with the special counsel. 5 hours. And they fought like hell to keep the public from hearing this before the election. They succeeded. We should have heard it the next day. His presidency would have ended that day. Let's listen to more from this guy who was intensely probing, sharp as a tack, tip top. I can't even keep up with him. Check this out.
Went to Mongolia and great pictures. I unfortunately embarrassed the hell out of the leader of Mongolia. They were doing what they would do at the time of the invasion of the Mongols into Europe in the 800s. And so we're out in the middle of nowhere, and you're looking up on the hill, and you see this tiny line. You know, it's a 20-mile horse race with all these kids under the age of 16 on bareback racing to come down. And, you know, they're sumo wrestlers and doing everything they do. And so they walked over, and they had a target, big bales of hay 100 yards away. And these guerrillas were, you know, taking shots. And I don't know if it's embarrassed me or to make a point, but they handed the bow and arrow. Well, I'm not a bad archer, but the only problem they were if I could pull it back, so and pure luck, I hit the goddamn target. No, I really did. Bales of hay, there were like 20 bales of hay with a big target in the middle of the bale of hay. And so I didn't mean anything by it. I turned to the prime minister, handed it to him. The poor son of a bitch couldn't pull it back.
That is amazing. He embarrassed the prime minister because he was such a good archer. That's an interview about stealing classified documents. And they spent, whatever it is, 2 minutes listening to him brag about what a good archer he is. And by the way, right after that interview, remember what they did? They criticized her for asking about Beau. And he didn't ask about Beau. Biden brought it up. It was Biden. It wasn't, her had no interest in Biden. Her was talking about classified documents. He wasn't talking about Beau, but God, we know Joe Biden never fails to bring up Beau whenever it can help him. That's what they do. That's what he does. Never fails to use personal tragedy to advance him politically. He is just contemptible. I know, we all know, but I know people feel bad for him right now. They're offering sympathy and prayers, but keep in mind, he's a truly, truly horrible human being. All right. Speaking of horrible human beings, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, they're not horrible. They're great. They don't believe the theories that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. No, they want to put that to rest. But, you know, they're promising some big things. We'll get to that. And the Mexican ship, man, we have some questions. There were 277 people on this sailboat. I guess it's good that only 2 of them lost their lives after this insane collision with the Brooklyn Bridge. We'll get to that and more. But first,
Excuse me.
Life is full of surprises. Some wonderful, some not so much. But here's one thing you can control: making sure your loved ones are protected if the unexpected happens. At EasyPlans.com, we make getting life insurance, well, easy. In just a few minutes, you can apply online and buy direct. No awkward phone calls, no confusing jargon, and no agent will contact you unless you request help. Just clear, affordable coverage, designed to fit your life and your budget. Fast approval, flexible plans, and unlike other online insurance sites, Easy Plans won't sell your information to others. So no endless phone calls and text messages. Whether you're just starting a family, buying a home, or thinking ahead, EasyPlans.com has you covered. EasyPlans.com. We make buying life insurance, well, easy.
You know what's the funniest thing about Joe Biden telling a story about his archery skills in Mongolia is, even if it were true, it's an insane thing to bring up, but we all know it's not true. My mother once told me when I was a little kid, she said, if you lie once, no one will ever believe you again. And that scared me. I don't lie. It just, the thought, the idea that if you get caught lying once, that you're forever, no one's going to believe you. It's like cheating in golf. You get caught once, no one's going to trust you again. Joe Biden is telling a story about shooting arrows in Mongolia, and we know it's not true. We know he just made it up. Which makes it even more insane.
It's not even just the archery. It's that he shot an arrow through a horde of 16-year-olds riding bareback down a hill while surrounded by gorillas.
In Mongolia.
In sumo wrestlers.
Sumo wrestlers. And he embarrassed the prime minister because he was so good at shooting arrows. Do you think if that came out when it should have a year and a half ago, that it might have been a big deal, that people might have said, I don't think he can do the job anymore. I guess
that's Biden's club championship story, I guess.
That's true. They let you win, Joe. They let you win. No, but he said, I don't want to brag about my archery skills, but I'm gonna. He's got dementia, he's got cancer, he's also insane. He's also a narcissist. He's just the worst human being. Well, not the worst. The worst was Jeffrey Epstein, who is no longer with us. Fortunately, he hung himself in a New York jail. And I said this about many things, but 10 years ago, I would have bought the official line that he killed himself, but no more. After all we've lived through, after COVID, after Biden, after everything, I'm with you, Ironhead. I'm a official conspiracy theorist now, and I believe the conspiracy theories. Let's review again. He had extra sheets. They, some reason, gave him extra sheets. The cameras were off. The guards were either not there or sleeping. So if he killed himself, they certainly made it possible for him to kill himself, which is, I guess, not as bad as murder, but it's still unethical, illegal, and worth investigating. But Bongino and Kash Patel sat down for their first TV interview, and I love these guys. You feel like the FBI's in good hands. You feel like they know where the bodies are buried. Nobody talked more about the corruption of the DOJ and Christopher Wray and James Comey, these partisan hacks, more than Bongino and Patel. Patel wrote a whole book about it. Here it is right there, Government Gangsters. Bongino talked about it every day. So they know what they're up against, and they know people are impatient, and they know we need to start seeing some arrests. By the way, I got a good place to start. The Worcester, Massachusetts city manager announced that they will not cooperate with ICE. And in fact, he's threatening to charge people, cops, DAs, anybody who cooperates with ICE in removing dangerous, criminal, illegal aliens. He's going to go after them, prosecute them if they help ICE remove murderers and rapists. That's in Worcester. That might be a good place for Tom Homan to start putting these people in handcuffs. But anyway, Kash and Dan Bongino, they were good. They're good in front of the camera. They're well-spoken. They give you the sense that they're working day and night to fix the mess that Wray and Comey and Merrick Garland left behind. But they shoot down pretty definitively the theory that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. Check it out.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
I know it's hard work.
He killed himself. Here's what they did tease us with yesterday. They said that there is going to be some big news about the Russia hoax and the perpetrators of that, which dragged this country through 3 years of nonsense, and they're going to come after the people. Hopefully, Comey's one of them who perpetrated the Russia hoax and January 6th. I think we're going to find out how many FBI agents or assets were in the crowd. That's another scandal that we're going to find out about hopefully soon, that it was all set up, that Pelosi knew what she was doing, that the FBI knew what they were doing. They goaded Trump supporters into the Capitol and then said it was the worst thing since 9/11. So hopefully those two are on the case. Trump has a great team around him. I was trying to, I mean, I love these guys. These are two great choices. I mean, Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, Marco Rubio, Lee Zeldin, Caroline Leavitt. This is such a stark contrast to Trump 1.0. He has surrounded himself with warriors and patriots, and it gives you confidence that they're going to get to the bottom.
Now, Gerry, if you're on the conspiracy team now, after watching that clip, do you think Bongino believed what he said?
Why, you think he was just saying that? I mean,
he did look like he meant it. He was like, "Oh, he killed himself."
He killed himself. So why were the cameras off? The guards asleep. The sheets. I mean, there's just so much there. But maybe they just handed him a gun with a bullet, and said, do the right thing. In not so many ways. Just they knew where he was heading. You know where that Mexican ship was heading? To Iceland. This is just the most amazing video. This story is wild. A ship. It's a massive ship, by the way, 160-foot mast. The clearance at the Brooklyn Bridge is 130 feet, so they got a problem. But initially, when you see it, you're thinking it's negligence or the captain was drunk or something. But apparently they lost propulsion, they lost power, and the current took them toward the bridge and just knocked off their masts. But the wild thing is, if you could see in this video, is many of the people are up on the masts. They're standing up there in formation. It's a pretty breathtaking sight. It's all lit up. So they have powerful lights, but not for the engine. I don't get that. There's so many questions. 2 people died, 19 are injured. One of the 2 who died, his name was America. That was his first name, America. I think it's America Vasquez. These are Mexican sailors on a pretty majestic tall ship that was sucked in by the current, and the bridge was not damaged, which is pretty amazing, pretty fortunate. But nobody fell in the water. That's the other thing, which seems pretty wild. Apparently they would have preferred to fall in the water because they landed on the ship, and at least 2 of them did not survive. We'll find out more as the investigation goes forward. His name was America Sanchez, 20-year-old cadet, lost his life in this accident. And immediately, what did Chuck Schumer do? What else? Blamed Donald Trump. This is so hard to believe. This is a New York senator talking about a New York tragedy. And he writes, I'm fighting for answers about whether Trump and Doge have impacted water traffic control. We know they've been meddling with the U.S. Coast Guard. Trump relieved Admiral Linda Fagan as Commandant of the Coast Guard, and that position is still vacant. And the hiring freeze has limited the ability of the Coast Guard to staff up the vehicle traffic service. That's their traffic control operation that acts like air traffic control on the water. We need action from our national security, infrastructure protection, and public safety. So this is moments after the accident, and he wants to know if Trump and Doge are to blame. This is the next morning, I believe, Sunday morning, after this accident happened on Saturday night. And there's so much video of this. It's just insane to watch it. Clearly, there wasn't a staffing problem. It was a current problem and an engine problem. It's hard to believe that there's not a backup to the backup plan when you lose the engine and you are forced into this tragic situation. But it's not Trump's fault, Chucky. I'm sorry. You can blame him. I'm sure you will. Maybe the media will pick up on that. But all right. much time? We got time for Caitlin Clark? That's true. It's always time for. I love Caitlin. I mean, I love watching her. If you haven't watched Caitlin Clark, she's fascinating. She's a great player, a great passer, and great shooter. Intense. She's just an entertaining player. She and her Indiana Fever went against her nemesis Angel Reese on Saturday, and just crushed them. It was great to see. She's got a team around her now. On last year, she didn't. She was great last year, Rookie of the Year, and set all kinds of records. But now she has a team, a good team. There was one moment where she fouled Angel Reese. It was perfectly appropriate foul. Reese was going in for a layup, and Reese got up and wanted to fight. And she was called for a flagrant because that's apparently a flagrant foul in the WNBA. But she was great. She almost had a triple-double. She was 1 rebound short. She had 9 rebounds when garbage time was on. The team was up by 30. She's on the bench. And it was fascinating because Dave Portnoy bet, I think it was $25,000 on her to get a triple-double to win $350,000. He was posting his betting slip, and it was like, oh, too bad, Dave. You're not going to win this one. The announcer says, Caitlin Clark asked to go back in the game to get the triple-double. I don't like this. This is not what you're supposed to do, Caitlin. You don't go back in a game at garbage time for personal accolades. And it was, everyone thought it was wonderful. She got the triple-double. Portnoy cashed in. About time Dave caught a break. Happy for him. But it's not a good look for a person who's such a great passer and seems to be a great team player to say, Coach, can you put me in so I can get this personal record? I didn't like it. And I still love watching her play. And she got her triple-double, and she got the big win. And Angel Reese lost and complained about the hard foul. But
that was Caitlin Clark's 3rd triple-double. Do you know where that places her all-time in the WNBA?
Yeah, I saw this. What is it? Like
3rd.
She's 3rd all-time in triple-doubles.
With 3.
And she just played the first game of her 2nd season. She's going to break. She's going to break all the records. She didn't need the coach. Coach should have said, no, sit down. We're not doing that. We're not chasing personal record. What if she blew out her Achilles like Jason Tatum? Would that still seem like a good idea? Again, I'm happy she won. Reese lost, and Portnoy cashed in, but this was not a good look. But I'll still be watching and rooting for her. All right, we got to wrap it. We got to leave it right there. We're going to wait for the results. See what comes out of Trump's conversation with Putin. Hasn't gotten Putin, hasn't sold Putin yet on ending this war, but maybe today is the day. That would be pretty big news. That would be pretty wild. And we're waiting for more of her audio tapes. 5 hours we have of this rambling, babbling fool who was president for 4 years. Hard to believe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again tomorrow.
Bringing to the attention of everyone the countdown to impeachment. The countdown. The countdown begins tonight